This video is going to look at the second option in the Add Trend Line window, the logarithmic option. To demonstrate what the logarithmic option gives in examining a relationship, the first thing we will do is highlight this data, and we'll go to the Chart Wizard and select XY Scatter and Finish. Now we've created a chart that looks like this. This is the familiar chart with GNP on the horizontal axis and under 5 mortality on the vertical axis. If I right-click in the data series and go to Add Trend Line, and now select the logarithmic option and say OK, I get a line that looks like this, the black line in the chart. Where did that black line come from, and what does it mean? To see that, let's put the chart out of the way for a moment and insert a column here, which we will call log GNP, and this will be equal to the log of GNP. Now this is going to be log to the base 10. If I don't choose any other log, that's the Excel default. Now I get 243. The log is not dollars, so I'll format that as a number. And now I have the log of $270 per capita. I'll click this all the way down, and now I'm going to regress under 5 mortality on the log of GNP. So I'll go to Tools, Data Analysis, Regression, and I will choose under 5 mortality as the dependent variable, and actually it's already been selected, and I'll choose the log of GNP as the independent variable. It too has been selected. The output range is going to be F1, and of course there are labels. When I say OK, I get this result. I'm accounting for 53% of the variance. The coefficient for the log of GNP is minus 0.16, and the coefficient for the intercept is 438. Now I'm going to predict under 5 mortality using the log of GNP. The predicted value of U5 mort will be equal to the log of GNP times the coefficient for the log with an F4 plus the intercept with an F4. And this is the predicted value for under 5 mortality based on the log of GNP. If I click this all the way down, I now have the result for every country. Now let me bring the graph back, and I'm going to drag the blue box to include under 5 mortality predicted, and we now see pink dots for every country that follow the line projected by the logarithmic trend line generated earlier. To follow this line of thought, let us go back to the data series, click the data series again, go back to Add Trend Line, choose the logarithmic option one more time, and go to Options, and show the equation and the R-square on the chart. Now we have the equation. Y is equal to minus 50.623 times the natural log of GNP. The add trend line window uses the natural log rather than the log to the base 10, which we've been discussing previously, plus 438.09, and the R-square is 0.5386. If we look at the result from our data analysis, we see that we have an R-square of 0.5385, which is approximately, or is actually exactly the same as the 0.5386. Then if we look at the coefficients, we have an intercept of 438.09, which is exactly the same as the intercept of 438.09 here, but we have a coefficient on the log of GNP of 116.56, whereas here we have a coefficient of minus 50.623. Why the difference? The difference lies in the fact that this coefficient is calculated on the natural log of GNP, while this coefficient is calculated on the log to the base 10. But the results in either case are exactly the same because the values of the log to the base 10 and the natural log of GNP are linear transformations of one another. To see that, let's go down here and just pick any one of these countries. Let's choose Tanzania, and we'll type in equal ln, which is Excel's natural log function, and select the 90, and we get a value of 4.49. And we'll drag this down a ways to, say, Pakistan. And now if I say what is the relationship between these two, I'm going to divide the natural log by the log to the base 10, and I get the result 2.302. And if I click this down, I see that it's 2.302 for every country. So 2.302 times the log to the base 10 gives the natural log. Similarly, if we look at the value we had for the coefficient with the log to the base 10 of 116.564, and we divide that by 2.302, we get minus 50.6231, which is exactly the coefficient given here. So the logarithmic function in the add trend line window simply takes the log of the independent variable, which is here, and regresses it against the dependent variable. And the result will always be some type of curved line.